Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you might just explain why you had to go through that betrayal, that disappointment, that pain, and why the very people who hurt you will regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon, and not because you're chasing revenge or plotting some dramatic comeback. No, life has a rhythm, and life doesn't forget. I want you to think back to a moment where someone said something or did something that cut you deep. Maybe it was subtle, maybe it was obvious, but it stuck with you, didn't it? You smiled on the outside, but you were bleeding on the inside. You walked away with your dignity, but your soul felt like it had just been stepped on. That's not just hurt, that's betrayal. That's the kind of pain that doesn't leave a bruise, it leaves a lesson. But here's the truth, not everyone is equipped to recognize your value. And sometimes when they do recognize it, they feel threatened by it. So, what do? They push you down, they try to shrink you. They try to dim your light because it shines too bright for their comfort. And when they can't control you, they try to hurt you. It's a pattern as old as time. But listen, their behavior is not a reflection of your weakness. It's a reflection of their fear. See, when someone sees something powerful in you, a gift, a spark, a kind of quiet strength, and they know deep down they can't match it, that's when the attacks come. But let me tell you something that most people won't. Pain, when handled right, becomes fuel. That heartbreak you felt, that was fuel. That rejection, fuel. Every time someone made you feel small, they were really making a deposit into your fire. And one day, maybe not today, that fire will light up everything around you. Here's the part people forget. When someone hurts you, they're revealing who they are, not who you are. You have to stop carrying the weight of someone else's brokenness on your shoulders. Stop replaying the moment they disappointed you. Stop asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Sometimes the only thing you did wrong was trusting the wrong person. Sometimes the only mistake you made was loving too deeply in a shallow world. But don't let that change you. Don't let their betrayal turn your heart to stone. Don't let their words become your inner voice. You're more than what they said. You're more than how they treated you. You're more than the version of yourself that was left behind in that moment of pain. Now listen closely, because this is the part that matters. They will regret it. But not because you forced them to. Not because you went out of your way to make them see. They'll regret it because time reveals truth. They'll see you standing, growing, winning, and they'll realize they lost access to something real. See, the ones who hurt you often don't realize what they did until life gives them a taste of their own actions. And life always brings that full circle. You don't have to chase closure. You don't need their apology. You don't need them to see your worth. Your job is to rise quietly, powerfully, fully. Let the world see what pain couldn't destroy. Let them witness the strength you found in the silence, the purpose you discovered in the fire. Because when you rise not to prove them wrong, but to prove to yourself that you were always right, that's when regret finds them. Not when you beg for it, but when you don't need it. So stay calm. Stay focused, keep working, keep healing, because when life elevates you, and it will, you'll look back on this hurt not with anger, but with gratitude. You'll say, thank you for not seeing me, because you forced me to see myself. And that's when you'll know the pain had a purpose. And those who tried to destroy you only sharpened your destiny. Pain isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it shows up in the form of a fake smile, a cold shoulder, or a silence that cuts deeper than any words could. And when it comes from someone you trusted, someone you thought was on your side, that pain can leave you questioning your worth. But here's what you need to understand. The hurt you feel from others doesn't define who you are. It reveals who they are. You see, hurt people hurt people. That's not just a saying, it's a truth backed by life itself. A person who is whole, confident, and at peace with themselves doesn't go around trying to break others. They don't need to belittle you to feel tall. They don't need to gossip, disrespect, or manipulate. But the ones who do, they're often dealing with something inside that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Insecurity wears many masks. Sometimes it dresses up like arrogance. Sometimes it comes out as jealousy, and other times it hides behind sarcasm or fake praise. But at the root of it all is fear that you're becoming something they can't compete with. Fear that you're growing, evolving, moving forward, and they're not, so they strike. They throw words like knives, they criticize, they gaslight, they play mind games, but it's not about you. It's about what they're lacking within themselves. That's why understanding the nature of hurt is so important. If you don't understand it, you'll internalize it. You'll carry it like it's your fault. You'll start to shrink yourself. You'll second guess your every move. You'll try to be less you, to make others comfortable. But that's not the answer. Your job is not to bend for people who refuse to grow. Your job is to recognize that their actions are projections, not prophecies. Let's go deeper. Sometimes people hurt you simply because they can't control you. You didn't fold when they expected you to. You didn't change to fit their idea of who you should be. And instead of respecting your strength, they resent it. That resentment turns into hostility. But again, that's their storm, not yours to weather. And if you're not careful, you'll end up in a cycle, being punished for being yourself. That's why awareness is powerful. When you understand the source of the hurt, you can separate yourself from it emotionally. You can say, this pain is real, but it's not mine to carry. You begin to respond differently. You no longer need to argue, to defend, to explain. You rise above not because you're better, but because you're wiser. Now here's the part that takes real strength. Forgiving them, not for their sake, but for yours. Because if you hold on to that pain, it becomes bitterness. And bitterness becomes a prison. But when you let go, truly let go, you take your power back. You're no longer reacting to their damage. You're moving from a place of clarity and purpose. So understand this. The people who hurt you are often battling things you'll never see. Their behavior isn't an excuse, but it is an explanation. And when you stop personalizing their pain, you begin healing yours. Not every hurt needs a response. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is keep walking with your head high, with your soul intact, with your peace protected. Because the one who understands the nature of hurt doesn't just survive, they rise above it. And eventually, they look back and realize none of it could break them. When someone hurts you, the first thing your heart wants is justice. Sometimes even revenge. That's natural. That's human. You want them to feel what you felt. You want them to know the pain they caused. You want to see them face the consequences for what they did. But here's the truth that very few people will tell you. Retaliation is not power. Restraint is. When you retaliate, you sink to their level. You give away your energy trying to get even with someone who never deserved your attention in the first place. You start living your life with them still in control, not because they're strong, but because they're still dictating how you feel and how you act. That's not strength, that's bondage, emotional bondage. But when you choose to rise above it, that's when you take back your power. There's a difference between reaction and response. Reaction is instant. It's emotional, it's uncontrolled, it's what they want. Because when someone tries to hurt you, they're often hoping you'll react. That reaction gives them satisfaction. It proves to them they still have influence in your life. But a response that comes from wisdom, it's measured, it's grounded, it's rooted in peace and purpose, and that response often looks like silence. It looks like walking away. It looks like not clapping back when every bone in your body wants to fight. You see, people expect you to break. They expect you to lash out, and when you don't, it confuses them. It frustrates them, because now they're forced to deal with the truth, that you're not on their level. You've outgrown the need to explain yourself. You've outgrown the need to win petty battles, and that silence, that calm, becomes louder than any argument you could have had. But make no mistake, choosing not to retaliate doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're focused. It means you've got bigger things ahead of you than the person trying to pull you back. You don't chase small people when you're on a big mission. You don't turn around to throw stones at every barking dog. Why? Because your energy is too valuable. Your future is too important. You've been through too much to be distracted now. This is where maturity kicks in. Maturity isn't just about age, it's about vision. It's about seeing past the moment. Retaliation gives you a temporary high. You might feel good for a minute, but growth gives you long-term peace. It positions you for elevation. And while they're busy throwing shade, life is preparing to shine on you. While they are tearing you down, the universe is setting the stage for your breakthrough. Don't let your emotions become your enemy. Just because something feels good in the moment doesn't mean it's right for your future. Sometimes the real test isn't what they did, it's how you respond to it. Will you let it shape you or shake you? Will you let it define you or refine you? You're not here to get even, you're here to evolve. And nothing confuses your enemies more than when you keep moving forward, unbothered, unshaken, untouched. Let your elevation speak for itself. Let your growth be the answer, because at the end of the day, success is the best silence. Peace is the best revenge, and freedom, emotional freedom, is the greatest victory. So no, don't retaliate. Let life handle that. Life sees everything, and life never loses track of what people do. Trust the process. Keep your hands clean and stay focused on what's ahead, because it's far more powerful than what's behind you. Pain has a way of knocking on your door when you least expect it. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't come with a warning. It arrives in the form of betrayal, rejection, loss, failure, and in those moments, it's easy to think that pain is punishment, like you did something wrong, like you weren't good enough. But that's a lie pain tells to keep you stuck. The truth is far more powerful. Pain is not punishment, it's preparation. Every struggle, every heartbreak, every moment that made you question your worth wasn't there to destroy you. It was there to sharpen you, to stretch you, to teach you. You don't become strong in comfort. You become strong when you've been broken and you chose to heal anyway. You become wise when you've been fooled, hurt, and disappointed and still decided to rise with compassion instead of bitterness. See, pain is a teacher that doesn't use a chalkboard. It uses life. It uses experience, and the lessons it teaches, they stay with you forever. It teaches patience when you're forced to wait. It teaches humility when everything you relied on is stripped away. It teaches empathy when you've been misunderstood and mistreated. It builds your character in silence when no one is clapping for you, when no one sees what you're enduring, and that's where the real transformation begins. You thought that betrayal was breaking you, but it was actually removing the people who didn't belong in your next chapter. You thought that rejection was a sign you weren't enough, but it was redirection steering you towards something better. You thought that closed door was the end, but it was just life saying, not this way, I have something else. The pain was not the end of your story, it was the turning point. Think about it like this: a diamond doesn't form without pressure. Gold isn't refined without fire, and you're no different. You were never meant to stay in the same place, doing the same thing, thinking the same thoughts. Growth requires discomfort, and pain forces growth in a way that nothing else can. It digs deep into your soul and brings up what needs healing, what needs changing, and what needs releasing. So when life gets hard, and it will, don't automatically ask, why me? Instead, ask, what is this trying to teach me? How is this preparing me? Because pain always has a purpose, and it never shows up empty-handed. Even if it doesn't make sense right now, trust that something is being built inside you: strength, wisdom, discipline, vision. You're being prepared for something greater, and pain is the process. And here's the thing: the very people who tried to hurt you, break you, discourage you, they don't realize they were tools in your transformation. They thought they were stopping you, but they were actually sending you forward. They were pressing the trigger on a journey that's going to take you to places even they can't imagine. So hold your head up. Don't resent the pain. Use it. Let it shape you, not shatter you. Let it stretch your faith, not shrink your purpose. Because there will come a day, and it's coming, when you'll look back on this season and say, that was the moment I changed. That was the moment I found my strength. That was the moment I stopped being afraid. Pain sharpened your purpose. And no one can take that away from you, not even the people who caused it. They say success is the best revenge, but it's more than that. Success is the loudest silence. It speaks volumes without saying a word. And when you've been hurt, disrespected, overlooked, or counted out, there's nothing more powerful than rising anyway, quietly, consistently, relentlessly, because the people who tried to break you, they're watching, and what hits the hardest isn't what you say to them, it's what you become in spite of them. See, some people thrive off attention. They want you to react. They want you to fight back. They want you to spiral. But what they don't expect, what they can't handle, is your discipline, your growth, your focus. When you stop explaining, stop defending, stop entertaining their negativity, and start building yourself instead, that's when everything shifts. That's when the power leaves their hands and returns to yours. When you choose elevation over retaliation, you step into a whole new mindset. You're no longer just surviving pain, you're using it. You're flipping the script. You're letting your actions tell the story, and that story, it's going to echo in places your words never could. Success makes noise even in silence. The same people who whispered about your setbacks will have to watch your comeback. The same ones who laughed at your struggle will have no choice but to respect your strength. But here's what most people get wrong. Success isn't just about money, fame, or applause. Real success is peace. Real success is self-respect. It's walking into a room and not needing to prove anything. It's waking up in the morning knowing you didn't compromise who you are to get where you are. That's a kind of power no one can take from you. Not even the ones who try to tear you down, and yes, they will see it. Eventually, maybe not today, maybe not even this year, but they'll see you standing tall. They'll see you doing better without them than you ever did with them. They'll realize that what they tried to break actually built you, and that realization will speak louder than any insult they ever threw your way. But here's the truth. You don't succeed to prove them wrong. You succeed because it's your calling, because it's who you are, because you refuse to let pain write your final chapter. They were just one scene in the story, but the rest of it, that's yours to write. So write it well. Don't waste time trying to convince people of your worth. Show them through your discipline, through your growth, through your unshakable peace. Sometimes your silence in the face of disrespect is louder than shouting. Sometimes your consistency in the face of doubt is louder than defending yourself. Let them wonder, let them talk. Let them sit in the confusion of their own expectations while you walk in the clarity of your purpose. The greatest message you can send isn't a speech, a post, or a confrontation. It's your progress. It's your healing. It's your joy. And the day will come when those who doubted you, disrespected you, or tried to hold you back will see you flourishing. Not out of spite, but because you chose not to stay stuck. You chose to rise. Let your success speak. Let it be your silence. Let it be your answer. And most of all, let it be your freedom. Because when you reach that place where nothing they said can touch you, and nothing they did can stop you, that's not just success. That's victory. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood forms of strength. People often confuse it with weakness, as if forgiving someone means you're excusing their actions or pretending the pain didn't matter. But let's be clear, forgiveness is not approval. It's not forgetting. And it's definitely not letting someone back into your life who hasn't earned a place there. Forgiveness is about freedom, your freedom. When you carry unforgiveness, it weighs you down. It becomes a chain around your spirit, quietly dragging behind you in everything you do. You may not see it, but you'll feel it in your thoughts, in your relationships, in your decisions. Unforgiveness turns into bitterness, and bitterness doesn't hurt the person who hurt you. It hurts you. Every single day they might move on. They might not even remember what they did, but you're left stuck in the loop, replaying what happened, trying to make sense of why it happened, searching for justice, waiting for closure. And here's the truth that hits hard. Closure doesn't always come from them. Sometimes it comes when you decide to stop waiting, when you say, I'm not going to let this define me anymore. That's forgiveness. Forgiveness is saying, I remember what you did. I feel every piece of it, but I choose not to carry it with me anymore. You're not letting them off the hook, you're letting yourself off the hook. You're giving yourself permission to heal, to grow, and to move forward without needing an apology that may never come. And let's be honest, some people will never apologize. Not because they didn't do wrong, but because they're not capable of owning it. Their ego won't allow it, their pride won't let them admit it, but you don't need their accountability to find your peace. You don't need their words to give you validation. When you understand that, you become powerful. You take control back. Think of it like this. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks your future. As long as you're holding onto that anger, you're still connected to the person who caused it. You're still tied to the pain. But when you forgive, you cut the cord. You stop living in reaction to their choices and start living in alignment with your own purpose. It's not easy. No one said it would be. Forgiveness is a process. It takes time, it takes maturity, it takes the strength to feel the hurt fully, process it, and then release it, not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more. There's power in that decision. There's peace in that release. And here's the most surprising part: when you truly forgive, you don't forget the lesson. You don't erase the experience. You carry the wisdom, not the wound. You walk lighter, not because it didn't happen, but because it no longer controls you. And in time, something beautiful happens. The people who hurt you, they see you glowing. They see you healing. They see you unbothered, unchained, and moving forward. And that's when the regret sets in. Not because you wished it upon them, but because life has a way of making people confront what they tried to bury. But by then, you won't need their regret. You'll have already moved on. You'll be living proof that forgiveness didn't make you weaker, it made you unstoppable. You let go and you grew. You forgave and you became free. You chose peace over poison, and now nothing they did can hold you back. That's not weakness, that's real power. Regret is a teacher that comes late, but it always shows up. And for those who hurt you, who lied to you, doubted you, betrayed your trust, or treated you like you didn't matter, regret comes quietly at first. It doesn't arrive with fanfare. It creeps in, usually when they least expect it. Maybe it's years later. Maybe it's when they see you smiling again, thriving, evolving, becoming everything they never believed you could be. That's when it hits them. They didn't just lose you. They lost access to someone irreplaceable. People rarely recognize your value when they're too busy trying to control you, diminish you, or use you. But when you pull back your energy, when you stop explaining yourself, when you begin to glow without them, that absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. In that silence, that's when the regret begins to speak to them. Understand this: you don't need to wait for their regret. You don't need to sit back hoping they'll finally see what they did, feel the weight of their choices, or come running with an apology. That's not your story to chase. That's theirs to live with. What matters is that you're no longer waiting for validation from the same people who couldn't value you the first time. You see, life has a way of humbling people. It has a way of showing them what they threw away, what they took for granted, what they mishandled. And while you're busy healing, growing, building yourself up, they're often stuck trying to understand how they let someone like you slip through their fingers. That's not your burden, that's their consequence. And yes, it happens, more often than you think. One day, they scroll past your success. They hear your name. They see a picture of you smiling, peaceful, surrounded by the kind of light they tried to dim. And suddenly, they remember the last conversation, the last moment, the damage they did. That's the cost of their choices. But by then, you've changed. You're no longer the person who needed their approval. You're no longer seeking their apology. You've built something far stronger than their regret could ever break: self-worth. And when you know your worth, someone else's regret doesn't define your value. It confirms it. So walk forward with confidence, not arrogance, not revenge, just quiet confidence, because life always circles back. The same people who dismissed you will wish they had stood beside you. The same ones who tried to compete with you will wonder how you passed them by. That's the natural law of growth. You elevate, and their view of you changes. not because you changed who you are, but because you became more of who you were meant to be all along. Regret isn't your weapon. It's the reflection life hands to those who tried to dim your light. And when they finally look in that mirror, they'll realize what they lost. But don't let their reflection stop your progress. You didn't go through all that pain just to look back and wait for someone else to catch up emotionally. Your job is to keep walking, keep rising, keep loving yourself enough to never shrink again. Because your future deserves all of you, not the version that's waiting on regret, but the version that learned, healed, and refused to be bitter. Let them regret, let them wrestle with what they did. But you keep building, keep glowing, keep becoming the proof that what tried to break you only made you brighter. That's not revenge, that's redemption. And it's the kind of ending they'll never forget, even if you already have.